Hi, everybody. Well, it's November. We've had a little snow, nothing that really uh, is sticking around, but kind of pretty. Typical upstate New York November, where you have everything that was alive and is now on its final stages, and the little white patches on it's very pretty. Um, I was going over meditations and things I wanted to share today, and there was this one from hmm, last month sometime as part of Richard Rohr's daily meditations. I know some of you also received that, so this will sound familiar, from the Center for Action and Contemplation. And in it, he said that Richard Rohr personally uses these stages by Thomas Keating to describe the stages of our spiritual development over a lifetime. And I found them very interesting and can kind of relate to them, and they're not static stages. It's not linear, like, oh, you've achieved stage 1, next you will do stage 2, and you will just keep progressing. I mean, the idea is for us to progress in our spiritual development, but it's more likely that you'll be at some stage and then you'll find yourself I don't want to say slipping back, that gives it the wrong visual, maybe recycling through some of the earlier stages. So I wanted to put them up here for you to kind of see and talk about with me for just a few minutes. We'll see how we're doing on time. But there are 10 of them. It's a 10-stage development model. The first is that at our most basic level, we see our body and our self-image together. My body and self-image are who I am. Doesn't that talk about like most commercials on television? My body and my self-image are who I am. So their needs for security and survival, really basic things. And it says, though we may transcend to other levels, our ego-based egoic selves will always include these impulses, particularly under stress. I find that is so freaking true. When I'm stressed, I'm concerned about my appearance and my body. Not just health, which would be understandable under stress, but maybe, how I'm perceived. I don't know about you, but I just found that fascinating. So the first step is acknowledging, that's where we are when we're in our growth stages. The second is that my external behavior is who I am. So we need to look good from the outside, kind of thing, and hide anything that people wouldn't approve of. The third stage, when we grow a little more in our spiritual enlightenment, is my thoughts and feelings are who I am. So we begin to take pride in our better thoughts, or like, oh, I've got that licked, or, that doesn't bother me too much anymore. And for nearly all of us, Keating writes, a major defeat, a shock, or humiliation must be suffered and passed through in order to get beyond that stage. We find out, I can cope with some things, but I can't cope with everything. And that doesn't really limit who I am or define who I am. The fourth level is that my deeper intuitions and felt knowledge in my body are who I am. It's like we grow then to say, okay, it's not what I think, it's sort of my deeper intuitions and how I feel about things. Well, that really is a more spiritually advanced definition of who I am. If we can grow beyond that, then we get into the discussion of our shadow self. My shadow self is who I am. He writes, this is the first dark night of the senses, when our weaknesses overwhelm us and we finally face ourselves in our unvarnished and uncivilized state. The false self has failed to bring us all the way to God or the oneness that we seek. Without guidance, grace, and prayer, most of us go running back to previous identities. If we can get through that or past that, past, defining ourselves by the shadow self, then we get to the point of feeling we are defined or we've achieved spiritual growth and enlightenment when we can reach the point of saying, I am empty and powerless over something. Which, of course, is where the 12-step programs start, trying to get people to that. Some call this sitting in God's waiting room. I love that image. But it's more often known as the dark night of the soul. And some of us have been there in our times. It says almost any attempt at this point to save ourselves by any superior behavior, morality, or prayer technique will fail us. All we can do is to ask, wait, and trust. Boy, I can relate to that. Another way we define ourselves is, I am much more than who I thought I was. When we finally understand that, then we experience the permanent waning of the false self, he says, and the ascent of the true self as the center of our being. Much more than I thought I was. Sort of, St. John of the Cross calls this luminous darkness. Isn't that a beautiful image? We grow not by knowing or understanding, only by loving and trusting. The 8th step is, he uses the male language, the Father and I are one, quoting from John 10, verse 30. The holy and I, or the sacred and I are one, is how I would word it. There's only God, and we are such a part of the infinite that we can let go of most things. I've once or twice, or maybe a handful of times in my life, have been able to feel that. Have you? It's stunning when we can, and you want to stay there forever, which I'm not able to do. I think more enlightened people probably can. It says, our false self no longer guides the ship. We have learned to let grace and mystery, both with capital letters, grace and mystery, guide us, still without full, if any, comprehension. The next penultimate stage is, I am who I am. It's just me, warts and all. It's enough to be human without any window dressing, he says. We are now fully detached from our own self-image and living in God's image of us. I keep trying to do that. You've heard me say, trying to imagine how God sees us. To know oneself in God and to know God in oneself, which is how Julian of Norwich and Teresa of Avila put it. Couple smart gals. And that's where we are supposed to get. Oh, there's only 9. Sorry, not 10. There's only 9. It's, I find this to be helpful, especially when I'm struggling with something, where I'm going or how I'm getting there or how I'm living each day. So I'll just say them to you again in order, the nine stages. And these are the stages of spiritual development, I guess we would say. And they come from Thomas Keating and also Richard Rohr. And Cynthia Bourgeois is a part of this. The 9 stages. 1, the body and self-image are who I am. 2, my external behavior is who I am. 3, my thoughts and feelings are who I am. 4, my deeper intuitions and felt knowledge in my body are who I am. 5. My shadow self is who I am. 6. I am empty and powerless. 7. I am much more than who I thought I was. 8. God and I are one. And 9. I am who I am. And did you notice they follow a pattern? There are like 3 in each group. The first 3 are all about us in this physical form: body, behavior, thoughts, and feelings. The next 3 are about intuition and shadow self and feeling empty and powerless. It's internal, our internal world more. And then the last 3 are outside of us, much greater than I thought. I'm one with God. I am who I am. I think that's the path we're all striving for. And to keep moving forward on that path. He ends with this prayer, which I'm going to read, and we will have that be our ending prayer as well. So please pray with me. O great love, thank you for living and loving in us and through us. May all that we do flow from our deep connection with you and all beings. Help us become a community that vulnerably shares each other's burdens and the weight of glory. Listen to our heart's longings for the healing of the world. Knowing you are hearing us better than we are speaking, we offer these prayers in all the holy names of God. Amen. So thanks for joining me for this time of prayerful pause with the pastor. Time to think of something greater than ourselves. And in this case, our spiritual movement, to be outside of ourselves and to connect and be one with the great mystery. I'm Pastor Deb Swift of South Presbyterian Church in Rochester, New York. I look forward to seeing you back here next time, and until then, be safe, please. Wear your mask if you have to go out at all. If you don't have to, don't. And use sanitizers. Wash your hands a lot. We'll get through this. We'll get through this together. All right. God bless. Take care. Bye for now.